Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a professional and you need to do your own research. I'm going to be reviewing several altcoins that I asked about on Twitter, and I am going to review some of the most popular coins from that list. Okay, so this is Chainlink BTC. As everybody knows, Link is one of the most bullish assets since its inception, and it's gone pretty much parabolic since then. It went up to I think $20 in the USDT pair before retracing, and right now it is in a consolidation slash accumulation period right now. I've marked several of these levels on the weekly, and you can see them a lot better on the daily. I believe that Chainlink right now is in a accumulation mode where you kind of see price just consolidating for a while, equal highs and equal lows for the most part, and this is usually seen as accumulation, in my opinion, for something as bullish as Link. And what that means is that the longer this thing just accumulates, where insiders can grab more supply and just keep accumulating Link, the stronger this is going to be when it eventually moves. So I like to mark an accumulation range just with this EQ, and you can see that price is also interacting heavily with the 200-day EMA, exponential moving average. And yeah, so not really much to say about Link BTC. I believe that this is going to be bullish. The USDT pair is also going to have also be bullish as well, and I believe that one is also accumulating. But for right now, price is just basically going to keep ranging until you see this start to go fairly strong. I'm guessing there's going to be sellers all throughout these levels, but you basically want to look for a big move out of this range with accompanying volume. And you can also use other indicators, other EMAs. You'll basically want to see these EMAs all tighten up, similar to how you see it on lower time frames right here. And you can see these EMAs start to make bullish crosses where, the 25 or 50 and 100 start to cross the 200. That's usually a good way of doing EMAs, especially on lower time frames. You can kind of see similar action up here where briefly some of the 25 EMA kind of went lower and then started crossing, and obviously everything started going up back. And here's another example right here. This is back in June where the EMAs are all tightened up, and you can see some bullish crosses. And you could have seen maybe this was another period of this ranging price action where you have kind of equal highs and equal lows for the most part. And then consolidation, expansion, and then come back down. And this is going to consolidate again, I believe. And my overall outlook for Link is that it's going to be very bullish again in December or something like that. Again, similar chart for the Link USDT chart. Link USDT is going to be a little different than BTC pair because this is generally going to move up with Bitcoin if Bitcoin is bullish. So, right now, the safer pair is probably to trade in the USDT pair. Um, if Bitcoin goes really heavy and really goes really strongly up, then the Link BTC pair is going to suffer, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Link BTC, go lower and test this range low again. But for the USD pair, it looks like it's about to break out. Same sort of accumulation. This looks a little different though because it's been making higher lows, and I believe that this kind of area right here was just kind of a deviation. But overall, it's still maintained this trend line, and it looks like it's about to break out of this $13 range high. The next area of resistance would probably be this supply zone here. Last up candle before a big down move and a break of market structure. This would probably be around high 15s or so. And I suspect from an SR perspective as well that $14 might have a little resistance as well. But generally when you see price grinding up, making higher lows, this is bullish. So yeah, in summation, I believe that Link is bullish. Ocean USDT, this one I marked this entire area as basically a large supply zone. And why did I do that? Because you could see right here when it first started in August, you could see price wicking up, and this was a resistance area before finally reaching higher and breaking down. So this entire area is going to have a lot of sellers, and price basically ranged below for several weeks before breaking out. And you can see the breakout, especially with this volume right here. When price breaks out of this range out of 42 cents, and you can also just basically do this. I mean, this is pretty obvious on the chart that this 42 cent area was resistance, resistance, resistance. And then again, like Link, if you see price start to consolidate around this area and making higher lows, that's usually a bullish sign. And you can see this heavy volume, this buy volume coming up. So obviously after it breaks, it's going to go to this supply zone, and this is a large supply zone. I think that there's going to be sellers anywhere from like 55 cents to high 60s, and you can see price wicking above, breaking down, and it's wicking above now. In my opinion, what you're going to basically see is you're going to see price kind of grinding through the sellers, and then once it breaks through 67 and eventually 70, you're going to see an explosive move. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of grinding price action. And certainly there's also another possibility, of course, that price does come back down to 42 cents before going up to. That's certainly possible. Areas of support that I would look for would be this area, this 50 cents area. It's probably a psychological number and a SR level, and then of course low 40s. RSR, this is another popular one. Okay, what did I mark? I marked some of these levels beforehand just to make it easier. We saw a large down trend followed by this short ranging price action right here. And this was probably like, kind of an accumulation bottom forming. And you could kind of see this entire pattern as kind of like a rounded bottom. And some might call this like a cup and handle or something like similar to that. Something like that, you know. You can see this better on higher time frames. I know it's like not the cleanest chart. Anyways, you see accumulation bottom here, price going up to this supply zone and breaking down back to the origin of the pump, or close to the origin. Before moving higher. So given the entire market, I am going to be bullish on RSR. What I personally think is going to happen right now is you are going to see there still be sellers in this area. So it wouldn't surprise me to see price grind down, hit a higher low, grind through again, then go up. And this would still be a higher low. This would still be a higher low here. So yeah, that's kind of my short-term outlook for RSR. Is I believe that this current area is resistance. And if you just wanted to go pure price action, you just mark SR levels. Yeah, so just resistance, and yeah, I don't personally think this was going to go through right away, but I could be wrong. And then after this area breaks, you'll probably look for these areas. The BTC pair, I'm using an older Huobi chart. What can you see? Back in July, you see this kind of make this big, huge move up right here. And you see a huge pullback nearly all the way back to the point of origin. Kind of like this, what is that? I can't really read how many Satoshis that is. 77 or something like that. But you basically see this area have a great response again 3 times. And these are the key areas that you want to look for on the chart, the ones that have the biggest reactions. For instance, like when you're marking your SR levels, you know, you have this top right here. This is going to be like a significant level, and you can kind of see it later on. You can see it right here. And like it provided, you know, support before breakdown. But anytime you see big reactions from certain levels, those are the key levels to mark out. Like, of course, you could just say, oh, you know, this right here is like a support and resistance level. And it was right here, but it's not going to be as significant as like a top right here. And you can kind of see the same type of accumulation price action right here that we saw before, where basically price just really didn't do a whole lot across a very, you know, several weeks or months. So what am I seeing on RSR BTC? I believe that this is going to kind of go up to this area. I believe there's still going to be sellers though. And it's going to hit a higher low eventually and then move up. But one thing I want to caution on for BTC pairs is if Bitcoin does go really strongly, then the BTC pairs are just going to die. They're just gonna go down. If that were to happen, if like BTC runs to like 20K or something like that, then you're gonna want to look for like these areas. You know, you want to go pretty low, in my opinion, for that situation. And it's certainly possible, of course. You know, I'm not saying it's programmed that these altcoins all do awesome with the BTC pair. That's why I'd say it's safer to trade in the USD pair currently right now. YFI, I have a bag of this. I was in since 9,000. This was a funny trade because we saw that, I don't know if this was going to automatically happen or what have you, but Twitter basically collectively came together to liquidate, I think like a short seller at 10K or something like that, and price just kept going up. You could see crazy volume coming in, and whether or not this was going to always happen or not, or just Twitter coming together, I have no idea. Generally, when you see strong volume like this happening, though, this is indicative of a bottom. So I would say that although you can still argue this is just like a lower high being formed, depending on where you denote your high, you know, you might call this high back in September like your last significant high at 30K. You know, you can call this maybe just like a lower high until it reaches that point. But I personally believe that you're not going to see these lows at 7.5K taps again in the near future. I believe that this was the low. And so I marked these levels here on the daily. Price is currently at resistance, and I'm going to mark some other levels. So price is currently at resistance right now. So if price can keep grinding through, you know, I think that 21,000 or so is the next area of resistance. And I do think there's going to be a pullback. I don't know where it's going to be, but it really depends on how strong the market is at this point. Because if you look at it back when DeFi summer was going insanely in August, like this is your pullback. You know, you're going to buy these bull flags, and that's basically all you're going to get for your pullback. You can look here when, you know, before when price really starts to run. During this like accumulation period, this is like the best you got. And, you know, price did dip from 15K to 10K. So that's like a pretty significant dip down. But again, like maybe this right here, what recently happened, maybe that was your dip. That was like the dip to buy. I can't say for certain. But as of right now, I think that the lows at 7.5K are still okay to be held. I believe that that's what's going to happen. And sorry for all these alerts. I have a lot of alerts. It's kind of messy because I'm still in this trade myself. So in summation, I believe that current area is resistance. If we see price grind up, 21K is going to be more resistance. And after that, there's not a whole lot of price history until 30,000, honestly. Like you see a little bit here at 25K, but there's a lot of room to move. So I'm still bullish on Wi-Fi. I'm going to take more profit at 21,000. ALGO BTC, this coin died, it looks like. You can see large areas of support here that basically were not support again when tested. I don't really know what to say about this. It still looks really bearish. I don't see a reversal quite yet, but it might just reverse just given the entire market will be bullish. soon, if what I believe is going to happen happens. This area is going to actually be resistance first. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of resistance on the way up. So yeah, it still looks pretty bad, but it should move up eventually. But there's no sign, in my opinion, of true reversal yet. This sell volume is okay, but you generally want to see either complete capitulation, for instance, like this back in September 2019. You see like massive sell volume, and everyone just being in despair, which eventually led to like this accumulation price action. Just equal highs, equal lows for the most part. Like if you bought in October of 2019 and then you waited several months, like the price is still the same in February of 2020. I mean, you could have had obviously some gains from the bottom. This would be a good trade, obviously. We wouldn't take 100%. Of course, that's a great trade. But anyways, yeah, I believe that ALGO is still bearish. OGN, this one had a insane run today, 50%. Wow, that's incredible. And this also highlights what I explained before too. You can see the origin points of pumps having excellent reactions. This is back in February of 2020. Look at this, like huge parabolic move from OGN. And then price actually wicks down here again back after it's done with its run in March. And then this becomes like a new area right here. And then it came all the way back down. So this is why that, sometimes you can see like coins like Dogecoin have very predictable targets, because price just remembers in terms of the overall history. And it's the same reason why you might see this swing high. I don't know what this was, maybe like opening day or something like that. But it's the same reason why you see sellers having long memory of after this first pump in February right here. It's like a total supply zone. Seller, 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 seller. And again, more sellers up there. So if and when this area eventually gets reached, this almost 50-cent area, I expect there to be again, plenty of sellers. And you can see a lot of intermediate levels too with this coin, but it looks like it has just like super explosive moves, like huge moves down, like huge moves up. It is like massive pump and dumps. We can talk about this another time, but basically when you see large inefficient moves happen, they either get dumped through shortly after. So like this is a huge move up, slight consolidation, massive move down pretty quickly after. And then you either see this, so if you see a big move up, you'll see like a big move down, or you'll see this stairs up price action, because price will grind through this inefficiency. And you'll hear this a lot. You'll hear stairs up, elevator down. That's kind of what exactly happened here again. Stairs up, elevator down. But that's just observing price action in other areas and on lower time frames, but also perhaps another topic for another day. Okay, so this is FET. BTC. This one also had a massive run in the summer after a long accumulation period. Again, when I talked about when you're finding bottoms, look right here. Look at this massive move down in March of 2020. Huge amount of sell volume. Actually, that was the COVID special, so everything just basically died during that point. Maybe that's like not the best example, I don't know. But you see a long accumulation period happen until July, or I'm sorry, maybe like what, that July, yeah. And then price makes a massive run and it comes all the way back down to this kind of origin area. That doesn't look super bullish to me right now yet. It's reached this key area, but I'm guessing it's going to still consolidate a little bit more. And this move was like a fairly normal, just downtrend. Pretty efficient, and there's not much to really say about this yet. Yes, it's still going to move with the rest of the market, in my opinion. So if the rest of the market is bullish, then FET will also move, but this isn't like a must buy or anything like that. And it's also important to note too that, I mean, look how fast these IEO coins fell. Like, it's disgusting to see, like, you know, from February and listing. Like, this did a complete negative 97% or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. And even higher from like the peak. In just a short amount of time, relatively. Again, I strongly urge you to basically think about coins in certain classes, and IEO coins, you know, like FET and some of the others. I think COS and you know, FTM, all those types of coins. ALGO. Well, ALGO kind of had a different cycle, but those coins all are going to kind of move together and have similar market cycles. So in summary, I think that FET is neutral right now. It'll move with the rest of the market, but, you know, so if the rest of the market is bullish, like today, you see green all across the board with all coins, then this will move too, but this doesn't strike me as like some sort of like awesome buy, you know, for instance. And there's still going to be residual sell liquidity up on the way up. Uni, this one also just dumped massively. But one thing that does look like the bottom is the massive amount of buy volume follow-up that happened on November 5th. This is usually indicative of some sort of bottom forming. You'll see a lot of volatility, you know, like a lot of just activity. Uni is a fairly new coin. I think that there were a lot of big players that were shorting this one too, so that they were suppressing price. You know, I don't really have much to say about this one. It looks good in the short term. You can use moving averages, or you know, there are some trend lines too, but it's not going to really help as much given the short amount of price history. I'm not sure really where the 175 low, I don't know what the reason was behind that either. You'd have to go down to really short time frames. There's probably some sort of level hidden in this September 17th. And that's also another thing that I've been doing as well, is looking at really low time frames, because you can find your levels and keep them pretty tight if you go down to low time frames. But as for right now, you know, I think this is still probably bullish in the short term, but you can still make arguments that, you know, from a macro level, these are just going to be like a lower high forms. But if you actually think on lower time frames that, market structure just turned bullish. Like for instance, actually I'm gonna make this like 2 hours. If you want to say, oh, okay, so like, you know, this is a high, here's a high, here's a high, here's a high, here's a high. You know, if you want to keep saying, oh, higher or lower highs, lower lows, and then this huge volume follow up, usually pretty good indicator for a temporary bottom coming up. And then now you can basically say, oh, okay, so this is like a breaking market structure where now we see higher highs and higher lows forming. I guess I couldn't necessarily argue with that because there is, you know, a bullish trend happening on lower time frames. So with regards to uni, I am still cautiously bullish. If you want to look for entries, I would probably, I wouldn't personally buy exactly right here, but you know, somewhere like 280 or something like that might be an okay. Like that, like another higher low. And you can start doing like trend lines and stuff like that. You know, stuff like that. I don't know. DIA, this one also basically went to hell after that summer run. I basically made a accumulation chart here, and that's what I think that DIA is doing. This is just ranging. You can actually see though that this looks pretty good in terms of the volume. And you can also use like EMAs too. Like EMAs are starting to see some bullish crosses, and like this is also kind of interesting too. I didn't notice this, but you see the 200 EMA like also acting as resistance a few times on the 4 hour. But in general, I think that this looks pretty good. I think that this is also going to move with the rest of the altcoin market, but I think that you're going to kind of see price go up, grind up, test the range high, come back down to like an SR level. I don't know, like right here or something like that. And then move up. And there's not a whole lot of price action. There's not going to be a ton of resistance, you know, for a while, in my opinion. Like this area will have some sellers, this SR level, this near 190-ish, and then you'll see like another level here, 250, and then $3. So that's kind of my opinion on DIA. It looks good in the short term, but again, going back down to the range low is also not out of the question as well. If stuff starts to dump, that's completely plausible. But with the volume, looks pretty good. So anyways, that is my video. I kept it right around 30 minutes. That's great. That's about where I wanted to keep it. I believe that the altcoin market is about to hit some pretty good gains in December personally, but a lot of that is going to be dependent on Bitcoin, as it always is. I am personally trading in alt USD pairs currently and not alt USD pairs. I will switch over to alt BTC pairs though when I believe that Bitcoin is done with its run. I'm not quite positive on that. So thank you very much for watching, and see you guys soon on Twitter.